Welcome you everyone for another part, but basically for you is the first part because I met already Wade. We have some technical issue, but things happen for a reason. So it will be good for you. It will be more excited because we know already what's going on in our stories. So Wade, one more time. Happy to talk to you today and share some amazing story with others because I have really good time with you, and I think your experience, your vision, and your story is very interesting. So I'm happy to hear again with another extra spices to your story. So what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I made it back to Chicago. Last time I was in Arizona when I spoke to you, but back
Mm-hmm.
home right now, I've been doing pretty good, man. Just laying low and just trying to revamp some things.
Mm-hmm.
I think like now you caught me at an interesting time because like when you doing business and stuff, you gotta be neutral to wins and losses. You gotta be neutral to success and failure. It's a part
Yep.
of it. So I'm in an interesting state right now.
Nice, nice. You mean you're on the up or you're on the down?
Well, could be a little bit of both.
Or sometimes the uplifting can be other side, right? Because we go up, we don't see many things, we are we can lose somehow, which has happened. Like many story now about the movie industry, music industry, crazy things going on. We don't know which direction it goes, but I think it's also show us like we need to be ourselves and just we need to do our own things. Don't look at other people, don't check,
Yeah,
and don't be jealous. And I think it's the big part because many times we look on the people and said, "Oh, I wish to have this. I want to be like this. I want to, be on this position." And we don't know what's the price for this.
that's true.
What's your thoughts about this one?
I think that's well said. I mean, for me, like I can't speak for anybody else, but like me, definitely, like I believe in being independent, and I think that like because the era that I grew up in, right, the media was kind of closed off. So like a lot of times we would see people, and we would see kind of like the glory lifestyle and all this stuff. But like you said, you never know what was going on behind closed doors. But I think like that kind of presented a lot of the people coming up with a false narrative in a sense because my thing is that like there's nothing wrong with having a small business. There's nothing wrong with being a filmmaker and not necessarily being in Hollywood. Like it's nothing wrong like independent filmmakers. To be honest with you, I think more people are watching independent film now than a lot of the Hollywood stuff. To be honest, so when you really think about it, like everything is not what it's cracked up to be. But I think that if you focus on what you're doing and you have fun with what you're doing, then I think that's the best part about it because you don't ever want to look at somebody else's life and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I want my life to be like that because as long as we live in this life, nobody's life is perfect. I don't care if people have millions. Like everybody has life situations. So to me, I like being able to figure it out and I like being able to be myself. I like being able to like, work on my craft and learn what works, what doesn't work. And sometimes just because you don't have a big audience, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you failed. It doesn't mean that you haven't been successful. It just means that you have to kind of figure out, what you want to do if you're trying to get your work out to more people or if you're just
Yep.
satisfied doing what you do. Like neither one
Yeah.
is wrong.
Yeah, it's like a process. We still don't know on which direction to judge. I also see this on the martial arts when people compare, let's say MMA, the top players with the MMA BJJ. They said, oh, BJJ, there's no money and everything. But basically there is because there's community, there's people, there's a lot of the connection. There's community which is much more value. And especially when you talk about the indie movies, like the your style and everything, it's basically the group of the people, but they give you much more because they're actually the people who like who know you, who watching you, they're able to communicate with you, which you also last time you told me amazing things. I mean, I have a few thoughts about our last podcast because it's given me a lot of like deeper understanding, especially about if you're a director. I also watch your documentary movie, amazing things. I always was wonder like who do this kind of things, like how it works. The people like they are the even actors, but they're real people, right? They looks like no way, like it's must be like scenario, but basically it's not. And it was really really fascinating, like see someone when I watch things like this when I was younger for many years, like this kind of style, especially on the funeral business, and you see like they looks like actors who playing the role being on this business, right? And like the lights and everything. It was like a quite like a Twin Peaks movie, like a it's what is this? It's really interesting. Like I really really enjoy, and I think just because everyone go to the the culture of like a massive the popularity and everything, we forgot the things what it's can really interesting us, because we look in the numbers, we think if there's no numbers it can be like nothing special, no viral, like nothing. So we don't see, but that's the things what we can discover, communicate with the people, because if you talk about the top movies you don't have the close community. And I think what people lack right now, is the community. That's why even if it's growing, like the indie movies, it's everything, it's growing. It's still like people don't see the value like indirectly, because you don't see the a direct connection between the, oh yeah, this is movie and this is my business. But meeting someone and talk about your passion and talk about your craft and discuss even today, right? And it's some value what you cannot count on the money. It's priceless, right? Time with you
Absolutely.
for me was priceless, right?
Yeah, and I think that that's the beautiful thing, right? Is like, because I know, like, again, like going back to childhood, like, you would see, like, a lot of people in the industry, doing this and living this way, but in actuality, you learn in life that, forget the look. You have to be smart with your money. You have to, like, not compare your success to anybody, and you have to understand that everybody, even the people who have successful business, right, even successful businesses have failures in it. And so the thing is, that's why I say that if you're going to be a business person, you got to be neutral to wins and losses, because it happens, and it's like the weather, it's up, it's down,
Hmm.
so sometimes just thinking that this is going to make your life like this, like, no, that's a very false narrative.
Hmm.
So because once you start really getting successful, then now you have to maintain it, and
Hmm.
that's like a whole nother story.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So on your position, because even if you talk about documentary movies, like I also see the tendency, like like in general. Okay, let's talk about even the producing, because we see the popularity. It's of course can be money behind this one, but to be honest, we don't know exactly what's the price for this. What you lose on the way, right? Like what's the even the real money. Like many things what we know, it's not the like what we think, right? You have a manager, you have a people in to pay, you have your agent and everything. So sometimes the real numbers, it's not really accurate to the real things. Everyone pretending
Absolutely.
to be someone, and sometimes people chase. And I had the same with the social media and the the YouTube and everything, when people chasing some numbers, and I was the part when I thought is the way, and then they reach the great level. Then I see there's like this bullshit. There's no money. Like and my friends who's supposed to be my guests, who have a 2 million, 4 million, I said, come share the your success. And they said, no, I don't want to come, and like I think it's not for me. And I know why, because you see, you make the numbers, but there's the reality. It's not what really is, right? So you
Yeah,
have nothing. You have nothing to share, because you know it's the fake numbers. What is not generate well, but you cannot say this, because if you say the truth, maybe you use the peanuts what you have. So they don't want to say. They don't want to show the reality, because they're afraid the sponsor go out, there's some investor go out, and they don't
yeah,
want to say the truth. And I think on the movie it can be very similar.
yeah. I actually had an idea out when I was back in Missouri, right? I was in the store with my wife, and sometimes I go help her with whatever she does. Sometimes, when she wants me to. And I like was thinking about this movie, right? About a lady who used to be a celebrity, right? And she was this big time movie star, but then she ends up like door dashing. And so like while she's out door dashing, she's like she trying to hide and like no one nobody to see her. But by the end of the movie, she realized that sometimes some things in life that seem like it can be like a setback actually kind of be a blessing.
Hmm.
And I think that that's the thing, right? That's why I said that in life things are up and down, because even if you have a lot of money, even some wealthy people have to look at their bank account. Like you think about the Tesla, for example, Disney. These are big corporations who cut people. they're always looking to cut and budget their money. So like when you think about it, like not being funny or anything, but it's like a lot of this stuff is just it's not really what it's cracked up to be. But you have to find a joy in between it, and you got to have joy when you got it and when you don't have it because this is it's just a part of the matrix. So
Yeah,
sometimes just enjoy what you do. If you make a little change,
exactly.
that's cool.
And sometimes we see even be on the top, then you are more, people can see you, like you say, Walt Disney and everything, which is happening with the Mr. Beast, for example, like, and the way they can basically can buy you, and then you need to do everything, under their agenda is basically, selling the soul, which is also like, can give you perspective, like, do you want to, do your own shit, and like you don't need to be on that top. It's not like it's must be like this, but I think it's right now it's show like this. If you want to be on the top of the game, you need to play their agenda, because they not allowed you to, to take control of something, and it's obvious. I don't talk about the conspiracy theory. I'm talking about the, regular things, about be
Yeah,
enjoy and be happy with their own things, because, like, I'm really like enjoy, talking with you. It's my, it's basically it's my craft. I love it. It's like I believe it's what I'm designed for, and I can spend my whole life just to be better what I'm doing. Of course I wanna grow. Of course I wanna, get some business around this one. But basically, this is, my field. This is me, right? And
yeah,
I want to be more me, just to explore more things around this one. And I don't need much more things. I have a great camera. I have a great mic. Like, I have everything. I'm good, right?
yeah.
And I'm just willing to, being more guests. So and people who have something to share, and have more meaningful conversation. And what is funny, ChatGPT, right?
Yeah,
Bro, I have a really deep conversation with him, like, it's crazy, but it was really go to the point, and I like it's open creativity, and it's also we can talk about the, where they're going and everything. Like, I don't care. Like, I just use for my, to explore my own self, to explore my own mind, to question things and everything. That's why meaningful conversation, with you, it's allowed me to explore more about myself, enjoy the every minute, because it's, it's fun at the same time, right? It's
yeah,
work,
it
it's
is.
fun, right?
And, and as you were talking, two filmmakers came to my mind, and I'm gonna just say one was George Lucas, for instance. I remember when he made Star Wars. They kind of gave him a hard time at first about the script. It should be short. It should be this and that. And George Lucas made it the way that wanted to make it. And I like what George Lucas said. He said that when he was a filmmaker, at the time when he was practicing a little more, he said that he wanted to make the type of movies that he wanted to make. He wasn't trying to necessarily go out and necessarily reach the masses and all that, but it just so happened that he did something differently and it worked. And so to me, it's like, I kind of like his style of filmmaking as to where, like, I don't make movies for people to watch. I make the movies that I like to make. And it's not even so much that I like to watch them. I like to make them. I like to tell
Mm,
stories. So me,
mm-hmm,
I don't pattern it around. Oh man, I think this is gonna go viral and people gonna like it. No, I like the things that I like to make, and I have fun making it. And like I
mm-hmm.
said, and also like I do pay the cast and the crew. So to me, I don't mind investing in myself. But if people like what I'm putting out, that's fine. If not, I'm not
Yeah,
sitting here saying it's perfect. But
yeah,
I enjoy what I do.
yeah. That's the magic, and also like you said about, he enjoy things to making, right? So this the same, on the production, the same like you, right? It's basically the making is the thing. The outcome, like, you don't know basically, but if you enjoy the process, the outcome, like, you don't need to care about the outcome. It is what it is, right? You do the process. What's happened after, like, if you put your heart, your attention, your work ethic and everything, like, you enjoy the process. That's all. That's
Absolutely.
all it's all matter, like, for me, like, I never watch my podcast, right? Like, I done. I love to do it. I was like, I don't need to watch. I don't do it even to watch for myself. I enjoy the process, what's happening right now. And even right now, it will be my 20 podcast today with you. And basically, one more, I will be a top 1 percentage podcasters on the world. It's like some statistic, and still, like I didn't watch any of my podcasts. And at the same time, I don't watch stats. I don't look anything what's going on. I just want to be on the process to really go in to enjoy, to feel fully what I'm doing and be aware,
Yeah.
and be with the guest. And that's magic. That's I think it's a like practice to really enjoy life. And I think that in general the expression, the creativity, it's give a lot of for this. So you do a documentary movies. Can you tell me more about this one?
Yeah, so basically, I was making narrative films for like the past 7 years, kind of off and on professionally. But honestly, when I went to film school and I took a documentarian class, I fell in love with making documentaries. And to me, narrative films are cool to make because you get to work with actors, work with a few friends and family. But I've always kind of started to grow more towards documentaries because why? Because first of all, with documentaries, you don't necessarily have to have actors per se. You get real people, real stories, and then on top of that, it's a lot more to me you can do with it because like when you're dealing with a film, right? People judge actors. Oh, he was good, he was bad, he was terrible. But when you make a documentary, you know, people can maybe critique how it was put together, but for the most part, I think you can have a little more fun with it. You can do a lot more with it, and there's so many different angles you can come from. And on top of that, it's a real story, you know. And I think that it's to me, it's kind of fun sitting down with other people and letting them tell their story. And I don't know, like documentaries are just so much more fun to make because even with film, right? Like to be honest with you, we've already noticed like if you're a filmmaker, right? For me, I've learned with shooting narrative films that a lot of times, especially because the media is kind of oversaturated, if you are gonna put things out, why not have fun making your own series? But when you start making series and films, sometimes the money that goes into it, if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, you might be like, well, I better find something else to do.
Mm.
But for making documentaries, I just think it's so much more fun to sitting down with people and just hearing them tell their stories and getting to know people and being somewhere different. And you're not really worrying about like, say this line over, do this
Mm.
over. Like, no, it's just all natural and raw and you can kind of push it the way you want it to go, but for the most part, it's just fun watching it piece together.
Hmm. But in general, like there's still space because I'm always thinking about even on the business way. Like people say about the BJJ, there's no money, so documentary there, can be less money than of course mainstream. But it's still there's field because, for example, like some idea maybe like can be documentary movies about the companies, which has happened. We have Netflix movies about Jordans, about like a 90s game Nintendo, the Tetris and everything. So I mean, it's not exactly documentary. It's like a story, like on the companies,
Yeah,
right?
but it's like, but it has an element of
Yeah.
document, and
Yes.
actually, I watched the Air film, and it was actually pretty good. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
And and to me, I think that that's the pretty cool, like because what I pulled from that film or documentary, right, was that they believed in Michael Jordan,
Mm.
and and Michael Jordan's mother knew how to negotiate, and it worked out with Nike, and and it kind of showed how Nike was kind of like a, they won like the company that they are now. But that's the thing, right? It's like just like the people took a chance on Jordan, you got to take a chance on yourself, because not everybody's gonna believe in you because think about it. Jordan was a great basketball player. And still to this day, he's still recognized as one of the world greatest players in the NBA. But when you think about it, there were other players too that were good, and maybe they didn't have the same opportunity. So sometimes when you're not somebody that maybe looked at in a certain way, you know, you have to take a chance on yourself because this is the thing, right? I tell people this all the time. The world isn't necessarily looking for any of us. You know, we have to kind of put ourselves in a position to where we do something great. But it's not about getting the accolade for it because sometimes people worry so much about an image. But no, if it's meant for you to do something great, you'll do it. But like I said, it doesn't matter if a million people are watching or three or four people are watching. Like just do what you love to do, you know, and don't let nobody take advantage of you while you're doing it, because that's what happens a lot in business is that, you know, people sometimes people get desperate, or you know they may be like, well, you know, well, okay, I'll work with you with this, because even because in a lot of things that I've noticed, I came across a lot of talented people. And what I've noticed is that, you know, everybody has a talent. Everybody has something that they can do very well. But sometimes when you maybe connect with the wrong people, or you connect with certain people, maybe sometimes they'll kind of push you on the back. I mean, it happens to musicians a lot too, you know, especially in the rap industry. So it's like, you know, everybody is talented in their own way, but it's like sometimes you have to, you know, just have fun with it, and don't think that look going over here gonna make your life any better, because sometimes it may not.
Hmm.
It may not, you know.
In the even about the Michael Jordan, I think it's the what it was beautiful of this part. I remember wake up, it was 3 4 a.m. My time in Europe time on the Chicago Bulls versus Utah Jazz was amazing time when I record on the VHS the tape, right? Was a great time. And but most important for me it was the team, and I think was the beautiful because Michael Jordan of course is the individual person, great player, but the connection between the people and Dennis Rodman, Robert Parrish, Luke Longley, and all the people, they're basically you feel like they're like all one, like you
Yeah,
feel the energy. It was amazing community there, and everyone was like really unique. I like the different styles, of course, different position and different skills, but at the same time you see like totally different personalities, and everyone, I feel like everyone is on the same level of the ability, and together they are really like invincible. Like it was a magic. It
I
was for
agree,
me.
and you know, and let's take it back to history too. Like I study Walt Disney's story a lot, and what a lot of people may not realize about Walt Disney was that, yeah, Walt Disney was born in Chicago, but he spent most of his life in Missouri. And from what we know is that when Walt Disney started to, you know, do a lot more animation and stuff, he did, you know, actually get a job in Missouri as an artist for like a little while. But when Walt Disney started his own studio, he worked with Iwerk, and also a lot of the people that worked on the Looney Tunes series actually were working with Disney when he was in Missouri, you know. And so like it's interesting to see how like a lot of these talented people came together. They weren't necessarily in Hollywood. They were in Missouri. And then when Walt Disney finally did go Hollywood with his brother, you know, his brother Roy eventually, you know, then his studio started kind of really, you know, doing really big things. But a lot of the work he did, like with the Alice comedies and stuff like that, he did that in Missouri. So it's just like, you know, sometimes a lot of people you're looking at all these big and successful people, but a lot of times what people don't realize is that all of those people at some point started small, you know, and sometimes being bigger doesn't necessarily make you better, but being smarter does.
Yeah, yeah. It's the journey. It's the journey, and that's why I'm think. The documentary and the podcast, because it's kind of documentary, like because it's real. It's basically if you take the things when you are on the podcast and everything, you can create a lot of content and basically share with the people your story. That's why I'm thinking
Absolutely.
like the right, because it's a real deep conversation, and it's really things. When I watch your things with the funeral business, it was the funeral what you worked there, no?
No, that was my teacher's funeral home.
Okay.
Well, one of my teachers when I from back when I was in mortuary, and you know what? From that, I've had people ask me, "Can I do a documentary on them?" So you know that's been pretty cool. But like I said, I love documentaries. I haven't had the chance to do many just yet, but I am working on one about pro wrestling, and I'm working on one about my web series. So you know, still working slowly but surely. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to talk because the things what I'm also want to share with the people, and it's something from my industry because I was on the porn industry and also understand the business a little bit. I mean, a lot, but on the terms from many different side, and also I see like on the side as a consumer producer, and also understand the things behind this one, connect with the the all the addiction, all the dopamine crazy things what's up on social media, building up and the showing like a you know, basically a lot of things around on social media, which are which are allowed young people to basically be addicted of many things, because if you go on the dopamine level, you want more, you want to drug, you want to drink and everything, because you going that high when you need to like totally all the time keep your mind going. You cannot focus.
Yeah,
You have a phone and everything, which is crazy. That's why I think in general, like a movie industry, they try to bring catchy things, action, like a no deep things, because then your brain need to thinking. And we now, all the fucking media, they teach us like, yeah, don't think, just watch, just click,
yeah,
just swipe, just swipe, just swipe. So we don't have the tendency to be focusing on the deep understanding in general,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why your movies, it can be like a niche, but at the same time, it's a big movement when people want this. But it's very hard to get out from the mainstream, because it's they're bombarding us every day. They spend billions to get us there, so it's very hard to get out. That's why I'm
yeah,
thinking that's why I'm thinking like the way what we still trying to do, the show, the way, and also promote, it's also quite tricky, because we want to have more audience, right? We want to have more people who listen us. We want this, so we need to be still be on this business, trying to impress and to show others, but at the same time we want to stay real. And I think
absolutely.
I think it's about this one, and I think it's your way. And I want to really now listen your story about your work, basically, as a director of funeral, right? It's correct how I say?
Yeah, so I've been in the funeral business now 14 years, and I started in high school. I was at Bloom High School in Chicago Heights, and one of my teachers called Spencer Lee Jr. and he said, "Show up in a white shirt, gold tie, black suit." And so I showed up, and I was going ever since for 13 years. And I mean, for the most part, it was amazing. The funeral home that I worked at, I had a lot of cool people there, like a family, kind of up, kind of down, But for the most part, it was like a family, and the Leak family, they awesome people. Stevie Leak, Stacy Leak, they always make donations toward my film if I need it. But for the most part, it's pretty cool. And so I spent 13 years working with them, but I ended up like going to school in between those 13 years. So let me see. I enrolled in mortuary school like around 2016 because like college was kind of up and down. Failed a few courses here, had retake stuff. So by 2016, I finally made it to mortuary school, and I ended up coming out in 2018. Man, I tell you, that school was rough. Oh man, that school was intense, But by the grace of God, finally made it out of there. But it's a pretty cool job, man. I mean, for the most part, you get to help people, and it kind of teaches you the reality of life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that business will really humble you, and that business will really let you know that never take anything for granted, and
Mm-hmm.
not put things out. Because I know, like a lot of people are like, wait, why you always doing this? And you can wait. You can. When I say no, no, tomorrow not promised to any of us. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever God give me to do today, if I can help it, you better believe I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you said the people from documentary movies, what I watch, you said they're your mentors, right?
Yeah,
Teachers.
that was one of my teachers, Mr. Rago from
Mm-hmm.
mortuary school, and
Okay.
he's also an accountant too. But I wanted to do a documentary on the business, so his family let me come in and do a documentary on them, and it turned out great. I'm proud of it.
Mm.
I think I kind of wanted at one point I was gonna go around and do more funeral homes, but I'm like, why don't I go around and just get different people's story?
Yeah. It's basically very interesting, because you can also check many different places first, on the different religion, also like how they do it, how it works and everything, so people can see like even on the different countries, or like different belief system and everything. So it's so many different can be
Yeah,
version, which is really very interesting,
and and that's the interesting thing about the funeral business too is right. Everything is diverse, and what I learned about that business is like in most business, a lot of things can be routine. But one thing about being in the funeral business, every family that you meet with, every family that you come across is not the same.
hmm
And even though, of course, it's people in anything, we're all not the same in so many ways. But in that business, you never make assumptions. You know, That's one thing that you never want to do because it's like, say for instance, you don't want to go in there playing a certain type of music and the family say, "Excuse me,"
Hmm.
because like we've had families sometimes where we would turn on music, they say, turn that off. We don't want to hear that." So I always say that I try to ask questions before I assume anything. Is this what you like? What would you like this to play, or would you like to play
Hmm.
your own music? You
Hmm.
know, and too nowadays funerals are becoming more personalized, and
Hmm.
I think that's a beautiful thing, right? Because somebody's funeral is their story about their life. I know sometimes people try to make it about other things, but you're celebrating a person's life, right? And it's kind of like you're celebrating the things that they did, like a movie, right? If somebody lived from 1935 to 2023, you know, and between that dash, you're telling the story of how they lived and what happened. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I always think that the funeral, it is about the family, but you're coming together to celebrate this person's life. So I look at it like a movie.
Hmm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Can you imagine like we will have the technology like if you someone die they can like a rewind and then make like a movie about this one like a, on the funeral, connect with the I mean it's possible basically, right? And
Well,
AI are allowed to do it crazy things and then on the end oh my God, imagine this one like you can make, basically they put the picture of the person from the old data what they have and now we have a more and more. So and then you put everything and then basically you are able to create from AI, the all the story and they will watch on the on the last day, right? And in the
yeah.
funeral it will be amazing and then will be
Well,
like you'll be the producer. That's crazy.
basically, like, I mean, people do like slide presentations, but I think this AI is moving. We may see a whole lot of stuff. It's just, more to come. We'll see what they want to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about us, how we can use it. Like I think it's a connection because, like, in general, like what we watch about the people who die already when they connect with all the the interviews, all the times, or the best moments, or any moments basically. They show this, the people, and I think it's a beautiful moment. So people have the time to understand, what this person like, who's this person, who was this person, and sometimes we listen to these people more when they die, which it's happened, right? It was like, oh, okay, that's this person like this, and always, trying to like, understand the people's stories and, understand behind what you did also with the. We come back for the producing because I remember from last podcast we also told me like when you watch movie you also not judge, you're trying to understand the story of the producer and then you understand why this person make things like this. Sometimes you do it for purpose, just to play and the fun and basically playable and they don't care. And then it's like, oh, okay, like you just do for fun. It's like, yeah, like why not, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's the important thing because again, filmmaking is storytelling, and who am I to say somebody's story wasn't good enough? I think a lot of times with movies, I think that people forget that everybody has an imagination. And everybody's imagination is different in some ways, and so sometimes we can look at a film and say, "Why would somebody put that in it? Why would they do that?" But that's the story somebody wanted to tell. Now we know Hollywood sometimes does some other stuff with wanting you to put stuff in their projects, but for the most part, when an independent filmmaker makes a film, and a person put their hard-earned effort into making it, you have to understand that at the time people are sometimes doing the best with what they can work with because you never know people budget and let's be real, getting money for film, let's be real, people don't look at film necessarily as a necessity. Especially nowadays when you got so much social media and there's so many things competing for people's attention. So it's like if a person, whatever money they can get for the film, to make it, you gotta understand because like for me, right, even though I'm a filmmaker, right, I don't ever want to create something where I don't have enough money to pay the people that did the project because for the most part, if they came to work with me, yes, I prioritize making the film and getting it made and making it look as decent as I can make it. But I also remember that people's time is worth something. So I'm not gonna go out and shoot something that cost me $9 million and then I don't pay the people. You know, I think that because a lot of times people don't talk about that, but there are a lot of times in a lot of these projects people work on film and don't even get all their money sometimes. So it's an interesting thing. That's why I say that me personally, I like making shorts because, you know, you can put a little money aside like because I know some people spend a lot of money on shorts too, but me, I try not to spend too much. I try not to overdo it, but I do try to make sure that I compensate the talent and the crew,
Yeah.
and I try to serve food because why? Because more importantly than me trying to look a certain way, I try to be mindful how I treat people too.
Yep.
Because we live in this world where like sometimes like let's be real, in business things are not always fair. Sometimes this actor may get paid this amount, this actor may get paid this amount, and then you got some people on the project who may not even get paid at all. And so I think that that's like to me, that's not. I don't want to do business that way. I want to make sure that when I get through film, everybody got their money and we
Yep.
good. I'll work the rest out later.
That's the importance, and I think many people forget about this one. And I even have this similar sample for this from the music clip when like you said, the food. Like many people don't think about this one. Like everyone need to eat, everyone need to have a break, everyone need to have a on time and everything. Like we need to look on this as a human, and like the project is project, but you need to always take care of the paying people. And no matter what, this is like there's also like your goal and your responsibility, right? Sometimes you need to forget about your goal. You just need to take care of the responsibility. And many people just to like like no matter what, like there's pay every price, but the price, it's you need to take the responsibility, and it's this also part of the work. Like this is it's not like something what is impossible to make. You just need to put the same work for the producing to take care of the people. It's the part
Absolutely.
of it's a part of the journey. So if you don't know, even if you're a producer, it's the same work. So you need to learn about this one. If you don't
Yeah.
know how to do it, or if you don't know how to budget things, you need to find someone who can do it. And
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, because people's time is worth something. Because I know, like, all of the people help me, like, because I use a combination of friends and actors. Like, Deja, we grew up together. Jalen, we grew up together in high school, and these are two people that I've known from previous, like basically Jalen since teenager, Deja since we were little children in church, and so like with me, I know them, but still I treat them the way that I would treat any other business person. Why? Because that's their time. And even with the actors, I make sure that I do pay the actors. I make sure that I pay the crew because people's time is worth something. And you never know what people are dealing with, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't look at this as a business, but filmmaking is a business. Like my pet peeve was when the actors were striking. Some people like get a real job. No, that is a real job.
Yep.
It is a real job like anything else. And what people don't realize is that sometimes people say mean things like that, but I think what people don't realize like that all of our jobs, especially with AI now, we could be in similar situations.
Hmm.
So it's always good to be merciful and graceful to others and to understand, like, yeah, there are people who did this and there are people who do it very well. And there are some people who maybe you don't like them as an actor, but nevertheless, it's still their job, you know?
Yep.
And I know people say, well, this actor's good, this actor's bad. Well, whether they good or bad, just like cops, right? You got good cops, you got bad cops.
Yep.
But they still want to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you never know on which position, what situation they have, what time in life they also experience, because they can be on the process. They learn lesson. How many people like rise when they have a 40, 50, and then like understand what they want to do. Like even in my age, like I'm so glad I found myself like really full potential, and I want now have the for anybody else, because I think it's a beautiful moment when you realize people ask you, so what do you want to do in life? It's like the things what I do, like, but in the next 5 years, it's like the things what I do. It's like, but 10 years, you know what I mean? You do want to have like
Yeah.
this. It's like no, I want to do this. Like like I'll figure out. I know what I want to do. Like of course it can go different way and everything, but right now 100% sure it's the things. And of course there will be other parts, combined and everything, but it's very important, because then you realize it's the key of the life. And I
Yeah,
think, listen of the stories, about this one is distraction. And I think it's allowed me to watching people from the different industry. That's why I love the podcast. That's why I would like to talk to you, because you have experience to meeting this kind of people with this industry. And then we can connect with the people who actually have the experience, who actually have the money, and they be on the top. I mean, on the top. But sometimes like this, sometimes the top, it's basically here. When people think you're on the top, and but many people are on the
yeah,
deep shit, and the people watching that, oh man, you lucky, you have a house, you have a car, you have a job, and the people are like, overdose, fucking cocaine, drunk every few days, cannot handle shit, the family broken. But from outside on the paper, they are great, but the reality, it's not like this. So that's why I'm willing to show the reality. I think documentary movies, the podcast, show like we are the same people. We have, we pass so many shit. We still, having the, demons and everything, but we deal with this, and we are here to help each other. And I think is the, message for everyone when you can also understand. And even this, talking with you, for me, it's a, super like therapeutical way just to like understand more. And most beautiful things from my last podcast with you, I really like, thinking like to get the part, I will still be trying to do something, because it was so beautiful moments, especially when you give the advice about the, like to more appreciate life. And you said about the, basically come to, funeral, right? Come to, ceremony, right?
yeah. Cause I mean that's the thing, right? Like life. It's nobody know how long they got. You know, some people live to be 100. Some people only live to be 10 years old. And I think that it's just one of those things where like that's why like we have to enjoy every moment and not always try to look too much into the future, because yeah, you try to build for the future, but what really matters is the present, even more than the past, because like a lot of times, like even when we look at life, right, like we see in the past, all of us have, you know grew up, we were a child at once, we grew up, and even at being an adult, we're still learning, and even along the way people have made mistakes. You know I would say that's all of us, to be honest. But that's why, like, when I see people growing in life and maybe people made mistakes over the years, like I try not to be too critical, because people are human and people just trying to figure it out, and sometimes you got to give people the space to, like, I feel like God is merciful, so I try to be merciful to other people. Like I try not to look down on anybody, because even with politics, right, like for instance, how like when politicians go up against each other for over the years, they say this one has did this and this, but if you think about it, both sides of the parties have did some bad things. They made some good decisions, they made some bad decisions, but nevertheless, I think that I try not to judge people based just solely off that, because if you look at mistakes, everybody makes them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting concept, but yeah. So it's like sometimes you just gotta, you have to give people the same grace that you want God to give you. That's the way I look at it.
And what's the, like meaningful experience what you had, working also on the funeral business, or even on the, production? Like what it's, I try and go deeper basically with the point to, when the people visit, the funeral, because it's like, I remember the story of Mike Tyson when his daughter died, and he want to take the gun and shoot everyone on the, hospital, and just to be like, crazy. But he realized the people there, basically everyone lost someone, everyone have the, deep shit in the life, and he said like, who I am to do things like this. They lose
Absolutely.
someone, also.
Well,
So,
in
because
the
you
funeral
experience
business,
this, you experience a lot of this one, and
yeah,
you have a, of course there's different emotion, different relationship. We know with the family they are not always best friends, but end of the day, if someone die, everyone go deeper also the heart, and they
absolutely.
remember the good or bad stories, but it's always connects somehow people.
Yeah, and and the funeral business, yeah, you see a lot of that, and I think that like sometimes in that business, you have to remember, even though that it's a business, it's still in a sense a service that you have to sometimes, you know, not so much focus just on the business side of it. You have to be human. Because think about it. I remember some years ago, I'll never forget this. There was a family there, and I think I had I don't know if it was a pro wrestling show or something like that the next day or whatever, but the guy, and they came in, he was really demanding, and he was kind of talking a little bit, kind of little demanding. And it was a family from, I don't know, they were from some part of Africa, but I didn't really know the guy. But you can understand when people lose a loved one, sometimes that can be a really hard time. But I mean, he was really kind of demanding, and so he asked me, like the next day, he was like, "Well, tomorrow we're playing this thing," and they didn't have nobody to help him. So I went in and I was able to, cause media. So I went in and helped and got it going. And he said, "Will you be here tomorrow?" I said, "Oh no, man. I said I won't be here tomorrow because I got somewhere else to be." And he kind of like, I could see the look on his face, like he like he didn't like that. And so and like I said, the guy was really demanding. But then I got to talk to the guy, and I said, because I didn't know this guy. He was a pretty young, fairly young guy, and he said, I said, well, who are you to the deceased? He said, that's my wife. He said, I went to work. He said, I got dressed and went to work like I normally do, and when I came back home, my wife was laying on the floor with my baby sitting on it. And when he said that, it's like my kind of demeanor kind of changed. And I'm like, oh man, like they got to be really devastating. Like you just, and it can happen to anybody. You just have a regular day, come home, and so the next day, I actually ended up coming to the service. But yeah, it's just sometimes you have to understand, even though it's a business, there's a human side. Like yes, some people can say, well, you're not obligated, but no, when you step into the job of being a funeral director, mortician, you know what the job is. And to be honest with you, you know that business, even though it's a business and you have to handle things legally and professionally and that, you still got to have a heart, because you come across all type of situations, and you don't want to be mean or be nasty. So so when you run a funeral home, I think that anybody that runs a funeral home, you have to be really special about the people you hire. You have to be really special about your calling, and you have to really take it serious, because what happens if you have a funeral home and you have a family, say for instance you got a visitation from 5 to 8. You don't want to just start kicking the people out at 8. And sometimes yeah, you got to get home, you want to get home, but you understand this is the last time that they're gonna see their loved one in that state, pretty much. And we all have our beliefs, and things of that nature, but for the moment in that time, you don't want to go in there and just start arresting the family. Y'all got to go. Y'all, you don't want to do that. So it's like in that business, you have to have a level of compassion. Because what a lot of people don't realize is, in most businesses that in this world we live in, we see with food and products and stuff. Some of these people don't care about us. But in that business, you have to have a compassion for people.
But you set up rules by yourself, basically. It's about, what you do with this, right? There's no like, rules and regulation and everything. It's about us how we treat this, right?
Absolutely.
We can be, DHL delivery guy, and it's the same things. We can also understand maybe there's package which is some important because it's for family, whatever. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
We can say like, oh, what is package? Oh, this one, but we don't know the story. We don't know
Absolutely.
the story, and we don't know like how important is this. Of course, like everyone who's the patient, everyone is quite soft, complain about everything, but it's if we generalize everything, there will be nothing meaningful, right? Like
Absolutely.
because we put this and everything on the instruction and like like a robotic things, but basically behind everything is the story. Like everything that exists have some
Absolutely.
story, right?
Yeah, and that, and that's the thing, right? Is like, in that business, a lot, and that's why I say a lot, because sometimes a lot of people would ask me, "Wait, why you do certain things?" And the way that I do it is, I always remember, if this was somebody that I love or my family, how would I want somebody to treat me? And so I always try to have that attitude with it, because yes, it's a business, but you got to remember, like, you got to have a level of compassion, because it's all type of situations and it can happen to anybody. And so I just think that from a standpoint is that you want to be the best that you can be. And so to me, in that field, I didn't go into the funeral business, just because I said, oh, I can do this, making a lot of money. When I was a little kid and I knew I wanted to be a mortician, I didn't know how much they made. I just knew that it was something that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And I thank God that I've been blessed enough to be doing it for 14 years so far, and it's been an amazing 14 years. It's like I say, working in that field really teach you to really like not take anything for granted, because at any given moment anybody life can change, anybody life can be, and so that's the thing, because a person don't have to be sick to die, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it
Yeah.
just really teach you to really just like really not take nothing for granted, man, and don't think you're invincible, or don't think I'm invincible, because we're here for a time, and then so it's just one of them things where like live every moment and just enjoy every moment. And sometimes when you have a setback in life, don't get upset by it, because guess what? A lot of times you got to, if you wanted this, and if you want
Hmm.
success, you're gonna have failure.
Yeah.
You got to be neutral.
The price you pay the price no matter what, and I think it's two things what you can be sure, especially in the US: taxes and debt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the taxes, they really get you too.
Yeah, I'm more lucky in Thailand, but it's still, it's chasing just a little. So,
Yeah.
so what's your next goal? What's your next mission?
Well, so for God willing, before the year is out, I'm planning to shoot like at least one more episode of my web series, and then for the rest of it, I'm trying to finish up the documentary on the web series of making it, and then I want to finish up my pro wrestling documentary going into next year, a little after, God willing. But yeah, I'm just working on documentaries, man, and just trying to have fun with this web series, and just share it with the community. And I'm hoping to host a film premiere out in Missouri at the High Point Theater too. So yeah, God willing. So I'm excited about that. Just
Nice.
gotta have fun, because you know what, it is about bringing people together, and like it's not so much about trying to sit on a computer screen and just try to necessarily reach everybody like that, because sometimes you got to get out and connect with people, because it's a lot of people out here doing stuff on the screen, and that's cool, but a lot of times I feel like you connect better. This is just me. I think that a real connection with people is still doing things in person. Only because, again, sometimes like there's so much content out here, so many people saying good things and that, and so like to me, it's just nice to have a really solid connection with people and get a chance to get out and get to know and mingle and stuff. Like this is great, this is fine, but I still think sometimes it doesn't compare to hosting events, and even if five
Absolutely.
people show up, so what? You know, it's
Yeah.
just
So
about being in the
we
moment.
we don't have choice. Yeah? We need to see each other on the real, And I'm always like, it's always my goal, like this technology allowed us to, let's say, connect, to know each other better. Like, but you remember when we have a phone, we always, before we use the phone, just to make a meeting. Hello, you're there? Okay, let's meet, right? That's all. Later we use the phone for talking, right? Later we use texting for, like, okay, you're there. Now we even use texting. Hey, can I call you? Right? What the fucking question? You have a phone, just call, right? Like you
Yeah,
asking someone, can I call you? Right? Before it was not like this. You just call, right? And
yeah,
now and it looks like it gives us, more connection, but basically now it's like we even can break up with someone using the text message or messenger, or even don't say nothing, just block someone, like, which is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I've been through the ghosting phase before. It's not the
Just
best,
block.
but I think it's much more easy just to say, hey, look, I need some space, and I think it's kind of cruel to just have somebody like, because what people don't realize is what we do to other people, it comes back to us. So like I said, in all things, I try to be fair with people. Nothing wrong with moving on, but at least just be human about it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also create first the ability to speak, to learn, to understand the process, to have fail, to make some moments where it's ups and down, and meaningful or not. But it's all experience, and I think like you said on the beginning, it's upside down. So basically, this is the journey. It will be always like this, but
Absolutely.
we take both from down, and we take a lot of things from the other side. But like we're trying to escape from the bad moments, and like trying to change, and saying like it's okay and everything. But basically, yeah, I feel like shit. And what? Like
Yeah,
it's okay
absolutely.
to feel like shit,
Yeah,
sometimes,
nobody. I'm not gonna
Uh,
lie. Nobody likes setbacks. I don't like setbacks, but in all things, I learned to say, okay, how can I do better, or what can I
mhm.
learn from this? Because we have to understand that nobody's obligated to do anything for us. Even with business, right? Like when I put my film out, nobody's obligated to watch it. If they do, I appreciate it. But you can't force people to share your work and like your work. But what you can do is the best that you can with it. And from there, you can find ways to be creative. But again, like I said, I'm not, necessarily looking to, I'm not necessarily trying to, get 8 million people to tune in all the time. Like to me, it doesn't matter how if people really like it, that's good enough for me. Like I'm not so much moved by numbers so much because I know that sometimes numbers are not even always accurate either.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. Sometimes the algorithm, the system wanna like a trick us so we can spend more time to checking the stats, and maybe we do something more to watching and everything. Which is all the algorithm. They just wanna keep us
also,
there.
also I noticed that they shadow ban people too. I've
They
noticed that
do.
because I know a couple of times I put out a post and I know it was more people that I believe more people had liked it or whatever. Then it's like they took the likes away or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
so because I know they kind of want you to pay. They want you to pay to play. In other words, I
Yep.
get
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yeah. That's the system. So sometimes, so I'm big believer, and I also shift, because I try to like build some kind of agency, but I don't want to build the agency based on the views, based on the the stats and everything. I want to build the agency based on the community, and I think is the new movement when people need to understand it doesn't matter how many views, how many likes, how many followers you have. It's all about the people. Sometimes you need one person to completely change everything, or
That's
like
true.
give you the potential to basically talk about your idea, and then move to the next step, or even don't kill yourself on the many like extreme stuff. But it's happened like sometimes we you require one person who talk with someone, and it can change totally
Absolutely, I've
the
seen it
the
happen.
system.
I've seen it happen. It's just like as far as the pro wrestling thing. I've been I trained for 2 years, of course, during the pandemic, and I kind of seen some things, and I'm like, okay, I'll keep my affiliation with it, but like, okay, I'm not gonna focus as much on this because I can't afford to have another hobby.
uh,
I got
they,
enough
they
of those.
they they said if you want to have more time, you need to find another things to do. So
Yeah, well, when money's a little tight, you don't want to have too many hobbies, though.
yeah, I always wonder like how my father can afford all the fishing stuff. Like it's much cheaper to just buy the fish, right? And and they going every time, and they don't bring nothing, and they pay another fishing road and everything. But yeah, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's also motivate you to do the things, right? And I
yeah.
also wonder like how this person can afford. Like I cannot fucking buy this and buy this, but how the
Well,
people can afford?
yeah. Well, so for me, what I meant when I said that was like, pro wrestling was great, but what I more so meant was like, okay, let's be real. A lot of times, what people don't understand is that your dreams cost you money. Um, and a lot of times, people may not believe that, but your dreams cost you money because if you are an independent filmmaker, you gotta find a way to get your own money. You gotta find a way to get your stuff out here. You gotta find a way to market it. And I'm telling you now, most people ain't gonna do it for free. Now there may be some people that might help you and things like that, but and so even with like when I train for pro wrestling, right? Like it costs to train. Because the trainer they got to get their money too. That's understandable. What I'm saying is that for me, the training was fun and everything, but like, I just felt like, there were a lot of talented people that didn't get utilized. And I didn't like that, because one thing about me, I think that everybody kind of should have at least a fair chance. But when I saw that, I'm like, well, maybe I come back when, you know, when I do something to maybe promote myself. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because sometimes when you're in situations where people are not gonna promote you, you got to promote yourself. Then you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
like you can always like use your side or like side hustle and the main work to like basically pay for the dreams, right?
yeah,
But in general, like you, if you have like it's many people like thinking like they wait, but they also wait for the time, maybe next year you can connect this and then you can do this, and even experience for your pro wrestling was experience, and then like that's okay. I tried, I did it, and like mission complete, right? And because there's no regret, right? Yeah, it costs money, of course. Trying things costs money, but you know what? Like it's worth it because you will always
absolutely.
thinking like, oh, I should do it this one, I should do it this one, because you don't never know what will be outcome from this. You can go pro wrestling, but basically on the wrestling you can go meet someone who do the who have a
Well,
other business, and it's
well, that's
so
the
many
funny
things,
part.
right?
That's the funny part about it, though, right? Like I've been out of pro wrestling for quite a while now, but I ended up making connections with somebody that has an up and coming promotion, and she wants to work with me. So it's like, by the grace of God, I could be going back to it. So it's like, it did pay off. It just paid off a little differently. But that's what I'm saying, right? You have to what they say about the card game. You got to know when how to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. It's like everything is about timing. And so
Yeah.
for me, I think that like when I was training, you know, I had, like I said, I had the filmmaking going on. I was doing stuff in the funeral business, and I had this going on, that going on. So, I wasn't really fully invested into wrestling like that. So I had to let that go for a little while. But I mean, it was cool, man. I met a lot of
Hmm.
cool people. A lot of cool people.
Yeah, and but it's always way, right? Like many people think, oh, I don't have time to do this one. Like even me, like I tried, connect my, the podcast, the other project, and then I still wanna do BJJ. It's basic community. It's a great things what I wanna do, even about my health. And I think like, oh, but the morning time will be perfect for me. And like how to do? And I talk with the people. It's like, hey, you can make the class what you do at an evening. Or in the morning there's free mat. Post on the many groups, bring some
Absolutely.
people, and it's roll. It's like that's a fucking great idea. Like
Yeah, because you know what?
if it's not exist, create one. Another time when
Absolutely.
it's and it'll be always someone. You just need to look. You just need to talk. For sure, there's more people who have more time on the
Absolutely.
morning, wanna work out and everything, wanna roll. It's no need to be, pro. It must be fun. And I think
Absolutely.
it's a and we discover with this because there's many things people do with sport they treat like a must be compete and everything. And even the BJJ, people think they need to compete, but basically it's they don't need to. It can be fun, can be hobby, can be passion when you can meet
Absolutely.
the people.
Yeah, cause like I said, even when I was training for pro wrestling, right, they had shows every week, pretty much. Like every promotion had a different, like and some of the wrestlers were traveling to like Wisconsin, to Iowa, Minnesota, sometime Texas, Florida, definitely a lot. But for me, I did it with the expectation that I did it, and because I was working in a funeral home at the time, I couldn't really go to all of the shows because like I made it to the one show. That was it because like I said, I work and things of that nature. But right now I'm kind of revamping my life and just you see where God takes it. But for the most part, I'm appreciating the push forward, the pushbacks, all of it because all of it is necessary because again when you are trying to do things it's what we make it and it's not up to anybody else to support it like I said we appreciate if they do but nobody has to do anything.
So tell me who can win the belt on the WWE? How is the playing the role like paper scissors stone and they choose? I always wonder like why they choose this guy to win when I understand it's not real, right? Because there's always someone who won, but they decide before. It's basically like it's production, right? It's the full production.
Yeah, that's always the safest way to answer any question about pro wrestling. When people say is it, you say no, it's entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the best way that. But it's really cool. A lot of cool people, and I mean it's just one of them things where like with pro wrestling, like if the crowd likes you, if they hate you. But it's
Mm.
it's pretty cool. But you never know unless you try. you know.
Hmm.
And like I said, it was really fun training and getting a chance to be like I met Carlito, I met Hornswoggle, I met quite a few people. Met Scotty Too Hottie. So I met a lot of people I used to watch on TV coming up as a child. So it was
Yeah.
nice, pretty cool,
S-
man. The
So
training
when you
class, pretty cool.
when you realize it's not real, like the Santa Claus,
Oh man, we knew that as children, you know.
really, damn,
Yeah.
like in Poland, like we're thinking like long.
Well,
No,
no,
we thought it's real. We thought it's real.
well, no,
No, we thought like all the Americans thinking this is real.
well, I mean, I put it like this: it's just as real as all the TV shows, you know.
It's just the real TV, like all the.
Yeah, but it's like I said, man, it was pretty cool. I got a chance to meet like some great people. I got a chance to make some really good friends and associates. So, like I said, it's cool. And like I said, I definitely don't think my story is finished with that. But sometimes you have to take care of the needs. Sometimes for me, it's more about taking care of needs right now.
That's the point. And also, like, I wanna also share with you something because I'm planning to make a site and project because I wanna put you and all the people who are my guests because I believe that the people who I invite people who I connect. I mean, it's easy to feel someone who have the same foundation and
Yeah,
it's like after like few minutes and even not after a few minutes after 1 minute with you I know our foundation the same. We believe the same things. We believe being good person. We believe karma. We believe the god on the general like being good person and human being and I want people to also use the podcast as a part of understanding the people because if someone come and they see my podcast and everyone represents something. You are from the production, you are from funeral business, you are also from the WWE. I mean the
pro
pro
wrestling.
wrestling, yeah.
Oh man, I
uh,
got called from WWE. That'd be nice.
yeah, now I realize it's okay, it's the league, okay, okay, yeah,
Maybe
but pro
speaking it
wrestling,
into
yeah.
existence, I take it.
Yeah, 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 but it can be, yeah, WWE. The WWE is the highest league, right, in US, right?
Uh, W and AEW now, so they both kind of, WWE of
Top,
course been around a little longer, but
yeah,
AEW is kind of moving up
yeah,
the ladder too.
yeah. But maybe you make up a documentary movie about WWE.
Maybe who knows? But what I realized though, like, and this is something that like is really cool. But like, I'm learning that the independent scene, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's wrestling, those are really cool places. Sometimes they don't always get as much recognition, but I mean, for the most part, it's pretty cool because, like, to see the journey of somebody training and for wrestling and, to see what they go through. Because a lot of times when you look at WWE, you see these guys as superstars. But a lot of times, a lot of those guys were wrestling in old gyms and schools and restaurants and
Yeah.
outside and wherever else. So like it's just it's like, man, being able to see that and live it, and it's a really cool experience. And then like some of the people that I've trained with, some of them are doing great things now,
Hmm.
amazing things. And so like but one thing about it is like I understand now why like a lot of people who could have went to bigger promotions or did bigger things in Hollywood. I see now why some people chose not to do that because it's like a lot of times, you know, when you're on the independent scene, it may seem like it's more struggle sometimes, but for the most part, it's a lot of more fun. Because
Hmm.
sometimes when you get up to those levels that you think may make you better, sometimes it's a lot of politics and a lot of hold back and blocking,
Yeah.
all that mess, you know?
Much more tension, and it's you are not on the control of many things. You are, it's not about smaller. If you are not on the control, you decide for many things. You decide about, what game you play. You decide what rules and what foundation it is. Because if you go to the game and the foundation is fucked up, and then it's already about your money. It depends now. I mean, you play on the money when it's you need to cover all the toys what you buy and you don't have choice, then it's too late, then you need to play a game like they set up for you. So I think it's you go people should go high, at least if they do not sell the soul, and
Yeah.
it's very important, and all the toys fuck it, like leave it after, like you and understand is the part of the game, but being a person who can say no and still be alive and going on and on the daily wake up do it what they love, it's much more beneficial
Absolutely.
on the long term.
Yeah, and to me, it's like I'm grateful for all of it because I was able to see some amazing things, and it's like it's nice having control of your own,
Yep.
because it's fun, and like a lot of times, again, people think like, oh man, I got to get here and there, but you know what? If you are blessed enough to find favor with a lot of people, wouldn't you rather it be because you actually did the work to get there? And you didn't really look toward other people to be like, because a lot of times, like, I remember I remember hearing a young artist, and I like what she said. She said, she raps, and she was like, she said she could have got some people to be featured on her album, but she said I thought about something. She said I didn't want it to be because I worked with them. I want to be the one to carry that torch and be able to do it, so nobody can say that they the one did it. And so to me,
Hmm.
it's like I just kind of have a little fun just trying to figure it out, as opposed
Yeah.
to like oh man, you work with him and that, because like I said, like, no, it's like sometimes you take a chance on yourself, because everybody have people that doubt them, everybody have sometimes people in your life that be like, oh, you ain't gonna make it, or he ain't gonna make it, or she ain't gonna
Hmm.
make it. But the determination and the fun that you have, because like I said, it's not about a look, it's about actually enjoying what you're doing.
Hmm.
Because the look could sometimes be, a lot of people have things and not even happy. It's
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I never would want that to be me.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely put you on my project, and like just to share and to see who you really are, because like I said, the podcast, your movies, it's basically it's a extension of you. It's an expression of you. It's showing you who you really are. And I
Absolutely.
think you share absolutely many good things about the producers, about the funeral business, which it's unique, and I love the connection is beautiful, man. Funeral and the documentary movie. And the AI what we talk today, it can be really really great future, because seeing someone's story, and on the eye, on the friends and the family, especially connect with something what someone left on this life. It's a beautiful moments, and also like we both believe, like the death, it's not the saddest part in the life. Basically, we live here, we need to enjoy, and there's the part of the journey. Of course, it's many people believe whatever they believe. I think it's you need to get anything what is possible, like to be beneficial from this, because if you think like about the death like a sad part and everything, your life will be not much different, because you'll be complain and like really don't enjoy fully life, because it's hard think like it's negative, because it's really consume your whole energy. What do you think about the death, if I can ask like a last question? What is
Yeah,
after, or like I think I said to your podcast like death after life, I think it was with you. Life after death, something like this, something like I mixed the words.
I
I
think
remember.
I think I like more the terminology of life after death. I do believe that there is life after death. I do believe in heaven. I do believe in hell. Everybody's entitled to their own belief, but to me, it's just like I trust that God is who He is. I trust in Jesus, Yeshua. I just just only thing we can do is have faith, right? Because what is faith? It's something that you can't see. You know, and I mean, I know a lot of people have their thoughts, but like when I think about like God and things of that nature, I look at like the laws of Moses, and I look at things of that nature, right? And when we look at a lot of those laws, it's really just pretty much all love. Thou should not kill, thou should not steal, don't commit adultery, don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Which, when you think about it, these are like a list of things that that humanity does sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, still to this day, like, and I think about like one of the smallest things that we overlook is the one I just quoted. Don't bear false witness against your neighbor, right? Like, if we look on social media, right, somebody can put things out about people. We don't even know if they did it or not, right? But it's like, it's like sometimes we like, yeah, they did it. But I try not to have that mindset, because, you know, if it's something that I believe in, then I don't want to be too quick to mislabel. Like somebody, they might have did it. If they did, I pray for them. It's not my business. But we do know that sometimes people lie. We know sometimes people tell the truth. So it's just one of them things where, like, if I wasn't there to see it for myself, I can't just say somebody did something. You know?
Yeah, that's the concept. Like I also always say, if you talk about someone, but if you talk about someone with the friends, whatever people, but you cannot tell to this person face, you should not say anything because
Yeah, that's true.
if you should have the courage to tell to this person, no matter if it's painful on anything, you should tell if you want to talk about someone behind the back, because it's allowed you to be transparent, to be
Yeah,
true to yourself, to other people, because if you do like this, the other people can do as well, right? So
yeah,
it's the natural, it's like the gossiping part, right? Like
yeah.
you can gossip, but if you gossip, you should know you can tell to this person face, then
Well,
you
you
can
know what?
gossip, right?
You know what's funny? A lot of times, as a human being, right? A lot of times we'll see that somebody might have did something wrong, and then it's like everybody just start attacking them, right? But then sometimes, like when it happens to us, oh man, it ain't fun then.
Yeah,
You know, so me personally, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, because there are some people that do some messed up things. Yeah, that's a real fact. But who am I? If I want there to say who did what, I don't know, because it could be true, may not be true. So I'm not gonna bear false witness against my neighbor. You know. Now, if I was there and I seen them do it, now that's a different story. Now maybe I pulled them to the side and say, "Hey, bro, that was wrong. Hey, sis." No, like but other than that, it's like, I try to be really careful with that, because if I call myself a child of God, like I say, one day I gotta realize I'm gonna stand before Him, and sometimes like we look at sins, right, and a lot of people look at sin as just being, doing things wrong, like fornicating or lying or this or that. But no, like what about the things we speak about other people? What about the things that we accuse other people of if we don't know if they did or not? So we have
yeah,
to be really mindful of it. Sometimes it's the small things that make a
yeah,
big difference.
yeah. Makes sense. And everyone experienced this. Everyone experienced all the drama. The all sometimes the destroy the brand and the people and perception about someone. It's happened because of this. And I experienced this one. But what saved my life about this one, I know I discovered who I am, and I know what I did, and I know I did good. So even even
Yeah,
people talk shit about me, like I know who I am. I know what I
yeah,
did. So things can happen, but I don't have
absolutely.
control to change people's mind. I cannot walk now. Hey guys, they said wrong. I'm real. I want to prove you. I don't need to prove to anybody. If someone come to me, I can tell my version. But I'm not the one who now
Absolutely.
must correct the information about me. People can think whatever they want to think, but if they want to know
Oh
the
yeah,
truth, come and ask me, and then we can
yeah,
talk. But I'm not here to change opinion of the people, because like I know people who talk. They have their own version of the reality and the story, and
absolutely.
sometimes they use me to fix their own life, their own problem, and it's okay. I can be the guy who take the cross on my shoulder, right? I can be the one for a while. It's okay. It's just temporary. Maybe it's even will be better because maybe they I help them, so I can do it. It's no problem. And we use the AI to ask you one question. Use the technology, man. I love it. Last time I make a conversation with I make him like being a Jesus on this year, and I want to make him like a new concept of religion and the connect with the Bible and other belief system, and I want him to like give him information like what Jesus will do. It will be 2024, what kind of things, and it was basically beautiful. It was very deep. But okay, let's ask a question about for you. And now it's the Chat GPT. It's crazy, man. Like it's so fast now. Like
Yeah,
the reply.
yeah. A lot of people's using Chat GBT. A lot of people's using AI. I think they said Snoop Dogg just made a. I believe I saw something about him making a music video using AI.
Yeah, you can do everything. Okay. Listen this, okay. Hello, bro.
Hey there. How's it going?
Hey man, I have a guest on my podcast. You know, I do the podcast, The Truman Show, and my podcast have the guest with the weight. He's a documentary movie producer. He's professional wrestler, and he also it's a funeral director. Can you give me one very meaningful question for him so we can give some benefits to the universe and humanity?
That's an impressive range of roles. Given Wade's unique experiences, here's a question that could provide some profound insights. How have your diverse roles shaped your understanding of life and death, and how do you use those insights to create a positive impact on the world? This question touches on his wide-ranging expertise and could lead to a fascinating discussion.
What do you think, Wade?
I love it. Great question, by the way. So for me, right, how do I combine it? And for me, right, I look at it like this: being a funeral director, you come together to tell somebody's story. Being a filmmaker, you come together to tell a story. Being a pro wrestler, wrestling and storytelling. So when you think about, all of it, it's all storytelling. And for me, about the part about where death kind of shapes the way I think, to me, the way I combine it is that I know that tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. So if I got something that I want to work on, I'm not gonna hesitate to do it. I'm gonna make it happen. And so I just take that as that whatever you have to do and whatever you think about doing and you want to do, don't put it off too long. Don't put it off. Don't say like, if you got a good idea, I try to stay away from ideas that take me 8 or 9 years to do. Like I try to focus on what can I do now, because who knows what's gonna happen in the next year. So I don't know. So I can only focus on what's in front of me now, and I
Yeah,
think that that's the best way to do it.
man, was super pleasure, and I think it will be great stuff for other people. And I know you as our concept is to do things for ourselves, but at the same time, I have a my business partner who his role is to basically take things what we do it and then put the things on the technology, the short clips and everything. Editor basically, so it's the part of our our concept, our business, our project in life, and they do it the the best version to show the others. So now we put the knowledge to the universe and let things happen with or without us. So thank you so much, Wade. For sure we meet again here in Thailand or US. I'm definitely planning to visit your place, and I hope we can meet and then you can show me place around.
Yep. So if I'm not in Chicago, then I may be in Arizona. I may be in
Yeah.
California. Maybe
Any
Florida. Who
any
knows?
place. Like I coming from people. For me, it's I always can connect things. So for me, what I okay, okay, okay. It was on the end, but it's fine. It looks
Yes.
like we're all good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going for the people, and like wherever you'll be, like we can always plan things and good timing, good place, maybe connect with some project. Let's see, man. Thank you so much. I will turn off now, but don't turn off because it will be just uploading for like 30 seconds. So thank you so much.